All right, welcome to 5-4 Work Together, which is our last section in Chapter 5. We've got a two-parter today on petty cash. So let's get started right away. The first step is that we are going to prepare a petty cash report. So it says, please do a petty cash report for November 30th of the current year using the following information. The amount in the fund is $200. The petty cash slip supported payment of $24 for postage expense, $20 for miscellaneous expense. The actual amount of cash in the petty cash box is $154. We're going to use November 30th as the current year, or of the current year as the date, and we're going to enter the student signature in the cells where we would have the custodian signature. So just as a refresher, remember what petty cash is. Petty cash is a small amount of actual cash that is kept somewhere safe in the business, and it's used for small payments that need to be made throughout the month. So our petty cash report gets done always at the end of the month. So we are going to use, as they said, November 30th of the current year, and our custodian is, again, just going to be student signature. Okay, so we start off with how much is actually in the fund. So it's set up here that the amount in the fund was $200. So we're going to plug $200 in as the fund total. Then, throughout the course of the month, it says, what did we actually make payments for? Well, up here in our instructions, it says that there were petty cash slips that supported payment of $24 for postage and $20 for miscellaneous. So we just go in the order they were given to us. Postage expense is $24, and miscellaneous expense of $20, which means that we had a total payments of $44 made throughout the year. So, if so facto, if we spend $44, that means we need to replenish $44 into our account at the end of the year, at the end of the month. Because we always want to get back to that 200 when we start a brand new month. That's what we mean by replenishing. When we start December, we want to make sure that there's $200 in our petty cash fund. Okay? So, as we go back here, that should give us how much should we actually have on hand in our petty cash fund. Well, if we take 200 minus 44, that means that we should have $156 left in our cash. However, when we totaled it, when we actually got out and hand counted, there was only how much in our petty cash fund? It says the actual amount of cash on hand was $154. So we put 154 there. And this, of course, represents the problem with when you're dealing with cash, is that it's very easy to get off. It's very easy. Maybe someone didn't return change to the petty cash fund. Maybe someone wrote a slip down wrong. Whatever it happened to be, there can be errors when you're dealing with cash. So what this means is that we're actually cash short by $2. Okay? And all that is subtracting the amount on hand, or the recorded amount on hand, minus how much we actually have. So we're cash short by $2, which means that we need to replace that $2 into our account. Okay? Hopefully that makes sense. If it were over, that would mean that we would have maybe $158, so we're actually over, and we would need to take that out, but that's not the case here. We need to replenish it. So our total amount that we need to replenish is the $44 we spent on postage and miscellaneous, plus the $2 that we were short. So 46 is the total amount we need to replenish into our petty cash fund. Okay, so that's a petty cash report. Pretty simple. You just need to follow instructions, and then make sure you understand the recorded amount on hand versus the actual amount on hand. Okay, let's head over to step 2. Step 2 is just making sure that we record our transactions for the petty cash fund. So here they have our petty cash report completed for us to see, and then we also have our transactions and our chart of accounts in case we need to reference that for any reason. So it says we're going to journalize the transactions related to petty cash completed during November of the current year. We're going to use page 22 of our journal. and the abbreviation for check is C. So first things first, on November 1st, we paid cash to establish a petty cash fund of $200. Now, I stress this really, really, really hard in the lecture, and I will do it again. This transaction, when it says establish, when we establish a petty cash fund, this is the only time we use the account petty cash, because we are establishing it. That's the only time. So down here, since it's the first line, we put November 1st, and we're establishing our petty cash fund. So petty cash is going to be debited. Our source document is C64. Debited for 200, and our cash is credited. Because remember what we're doing, it's like going to the bank. Going to the bank and saying, I want $200 in cash. So your cash account, your checking account, is actually going down, and then your petty cash, which is the amount you're going to keep at your business, goes up by 200. Okay, so that's that. Now, we get to the end of the month. It says we paid cash to replenish the petty cash fund for $46. So many of you will do petty cash, debit of 46, credit cash for 46. No. Never again do we use petty cash. When we replenish, what we need to do is look at our petty cash report. Because what we need to do is record our postage expense, we need to record our miscellaneous expense, and we need to record our cash short or over. So what this actually looks like is we come down here and we put the 30th, and then we start with our postage expense. So postage expense is going to get the debit of 24. Miscellaneous expense is going to get the debit of 20. And then our cash short and over is going to get the debit of 2. Which, if we add all of that together, that's going to be a credit to cash of $46. So as you can see, nowhere in there do we have petty cash again. So I always tell kids, if you establish, that means you get to debit petty cash. If you are replenishing, that means that you're doing your expenses. Okay? And then don't forget, you need your check number 86 in here. I didn't put that. Check 86. Okay? I cannot stress that enough, because so many of you, you'll even do this part right, the postage, miscellaneous, cash short and over, but you'll still add like a debit up here to petty cash, and then you'll put 46, but then you don't equal. Okay? Right now our debits, our 3 debits equal our 1 credit. You can't have another random debit up here of $46, because then you're not equal. Okay? Everything, remember, always has to equal. Debits equal credits. Okay? So that is the completion of our 5-4. We did our petty cash report in step 1, and we journalized our transactions in step 2. So you can head on over, do your, on your own, your application, and then you'll also, of course, have your terms and questions, which will be due tonight too.